Hey guys, there was an article not too long ago with Keenan Cornelius, and he's kind of talking about his preference for slow lifting over doing Olympic lifts, for BJJ. And I'll put this in the description box on the video, but it's by Eastern Europe BJJ, or BJJ Eastern Europe. You know, one of the more, ooh, that bird was loud. All right, well, you know, one of the more popular BJJ sites. And yeah, let's talk about this a little. So Stephen Kesting, he's the one that was asking the questions, or question actually. What he asked is, okay, now speaking of athleticism and explosiveness and strength, do you do any additional conditioning, either strength or cardio, in addition to all the training that you do? Or do you find that the amount of training that you're doing, because you train for 6 hours a day, is enough? Okay, so Cornelius's response, it's like, yeah, I feel like if you don't have the option for doing strengthening and conditioning, then you should definitely be doing as much jiu-jitsu as possible. And I think you can do fine with that. I actually did most of my purple belt year completely without doing very much strength conditioning at all. And there was a little bit of conditioning class, but I wouldn't really go into it very often. I was mostly just about rolling live. Okay, and that seems to be the sentiments from a lot of folks in BJJ. But I still think you adding even just a little bit each week, whether it be just maybe even something as small as 2 20-minute sessions of strength training, would be unbelievable as far as improving your abilities, and particularly the muscular endurance. For me, is drastically improved by adding the strength training into my workouts. And I don't want to read the entire article here, but he does go into talking about lower belts really should focus on jiu-jitsu more than strength conditioning. Those type things, being that he said obviously you should be focusing on your technique and not letting your strength and get you out of a jam. Here's an interesting comment though. It's like he's talking about just doing jiu-jitsu without strength training. It's like, you're not going to get super jacked. It's not strength training, of course, but it does force you to really focus on the technique. Okay, that's true, because let's face it, if you lift weights, you get dates. And here where he talks about his workout a little, he does mention, I do strength training mostly. I've done some CrossFit type training, and I've done some explosive style training, but I feel that there isn't a lot of explosion of jiu-jitsu unless you're standing. So break this down in a few parts here. First, CrossFit and jiu-jitsu. Horrible mix of activities in my mind. Here's the thing. With jiu-jitsu, we know we're doing an activity that isn't the best on our joints, right? We fully acknowledge that. CrossFit's one of those things, it seems to be in denial that it's horrible for your body and your joints, but they seem oblivious to it. No, this shit's perfect for us. You know, it's the best workout ever. It's a mentality I've always seen, and I think that when you combine those two, I mean, that is a lot of stress on the joints, a lot of stress on the back. It's with a lot of the movements that they do, and which is a lot of horrendous things. Any of the Olympic lifts should never be done for time. A lot of the things that CrossFit promotes in their workouts is, you know, just trying to do, say, as many half cleans as possible within a minute's time frame. That is just a bad recipe. Half cleans, or any type of cleans, or any type of Olympic lifts, each rep needs full focus. If you're trying to pack in as many repetitions as possible in a minute's time frame, let's face it, man, your technique's going to go to shit, and you're going to be doing things, especially, let's go back to using cleans as an example, that could be horrendous on your back. And YouTube's littered with lots of videos of folks with some horrendous technique in CrossFit. These things, like one of the people I trained with after college was a power lifter. He had been powerlifting for, at that period, I guess, I think I started training when we were like 23. But he was one of those guys like in high school who was already powerlifting, and he was like bench pressing in like 350 in high school, which is, you know, a ton of weight. And he was a 500-pound bench presser at that time, and he did other lifts as well. But I remember one of the things, the comment he made to me, really, it stood out to this day, because I'm telling you, many years later, not telling you how many years later, but a lot. He said, he's like, I really hope to master the bench press within the next few years. And I was like, huh? I mean, everything he did looked perfect. Just every repetition, nearly at least. I mean, I did work out, and let's face it, you know, sometimes you do break technique accidentally, even someone that was so well trained. But that really stood out, that it's down to the finite details with any type of Olympic lifts, or even things like bench press, which isn't not an Olympic lift, but a powerlifting lift. So CrossFit, I mean, let's face it, it just throws all that shit out the window. And when you mix CrossFit, that's very rough on the last year parts of your body, with Jiu-Jitsu, which fully acknowledges this sport's gonna fuck your body up. Let's face it. It's a horrible combination, and I can't imagine you're gonna last long, especially maybe if you're young. You can try and combine the two. You may be able to get, who knows, 5 years in tops. If you're older, I wouldn't last 6 months if I tried to train CrossFit and Jiu-Jitsu. Not a chance. And as far as what Keenan said about doing explosive activities, and it's really not, it's not so much a sport that relies on explosiveness. Yes and no. He's right. I mean, it's a lot of the explosiveness maybe when your match begins, when you're taking down your opponent, those type things. Let's face it, explosiveness, quickness is definitely going to be very important for that portion of your role, your match. But I wouldn't say it's explosiveness is totally, that's once it goes down to the floor and that's it. There's no explosiveness, especially someone that's not advanced in Jiu-Jitsu. You get yourself in trouble a lot anytime I roll. God, I mean, a lot of the guys at the gym, obviously, they're going to get me in half guard. They're going to get me mounted. They're going to mount me, and a lot of it to get myself out, I do use explosiveness. I try believe me, I do my best to use the best form, Jiu-Jitsu form I can. But let's face it, there is a lot of explosion going on, especially getting mounted when you're pushing on someone's hips to create that separation. I mean, that's explosiveness. So, yeah, I mean, he's right that it probably should not be the primary focus of your strength training, but at least some of your Jiu-Jitsu strength training should definitely be explosiveness. At least a couple of exercises per week. This is my favorite comment in the brief interview, and it says, Keenan says, "So I feel that just basic meathead type lifting is actually really good for Jiu-Jitsu. So try to stick to that." Yeah, I agree. I've been around in fitness for a lot of years now, and it always tends to go back to the basics. I'm convinced that even if you're just to stick to just one back exercise, is to say, even like pull-ups. Even if you were just to do body weight squats, push-ups, and pull-ups, and nothing else. You do that 3 times a week, multiple sets for each body part. I'm talking about 20 minutes time. That's it. You're gonna have a fantastic physique. You really are. You're not gonna look like guys. You're not gonna go on a bodybuilding stage and win. Not gonna happen. But you're gonna have one of the best bodies on the beach or something like that. So basics, it always goes back to. Obviously, it's even better when you add in things instead of just doing body weight. When you start doing weighted squats, bench press, and maybe add in some back exercise, even lat pulls downs or something like that. It's just going to be exponentially better. So, no doubt he is correct. So, thank you, Keenan, fellow meathead. That's it, guys, and please subscribe here. This is something I'm probably going to do a bit. I really want to start looking at the pros workouts and really seeing what they're doing and kind of break it down and give us some thoughts on it. So we'll talk to you soon. Os.